Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin with the Modern Observer Group. And with me as always is Chip Janiszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how you doing this week?
Doing great. How about you, Eric?
Doing fantastic.
What are you going to be for Halloween?
I am going to be asleep on the couch is what I'm going to be for Halloween.
Where do you buy that costume?
Anywhere you want.
It's funny. My youngest son, who's now 34, he always loves coming over here. And about 5 or 6 years ago, it just showed up on my Facebook thing. Him and all of his buddies came over, and they took over the whole dining room, and they all carved jack-o'-lanterns. It was so much fun.
Nice.
And they had a party at his friend's house up here to do the same thing on Saturday. So I have a little carved pumpkin sitting on the step that probably nobody's going to see, but it's pretty cool.
Fantastic. And of course, we've talked a bit on the podcast about your granddaughter. This will be her first Halloween. Is she getting dressed up?
Oh, I'm sure she will. I mean, we've given her an outfit. She's already gone. I don't know. We've had her crawling around in different things so far, but yep, she'll be doing something for sure.
All right. Well, today we're going to talk about big data and what it is, why it's important to small businesses. And to do that, we've got a guest on. We've got Mike Larkin from LPJM, and he's going to help talk us through what big data is. Welcome, Mike.
Hello there. It's great to be here, and happy Halloween, huh? Almost.
Almost, yeah. It's amazing how quickly this year has gone.
It's Saturday.
Yeah. So, you know what? At the same time, it's gone quickly, and I can look back till February and go, it seems like 10 years.
Well, I heard somebody said it was the best description I've ever heard. The days go on forever, but the year sped by.
Isn't that the truth?
Sounds like a song.
So, before we go into what is big data, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, I won't go back until birth, but let's be fast forward. My name is Mike Larkin. I'm founder and president and CEO of Local Partnership Joint Market Solutions. And the company was founded in the DC area, so everything is shortened down there. FBI, CIA. So we shortened it to LPJM Solutions. That makes it a little bit easier. We chased around, a few shiny objects down there and came away with the pursuit of digital marketing. And in particular, we wanted to introduce the world to reputation marketing, not reputation management, which I still get corrected on. Then it segued into traffic, which led us into a relationship with 20 of the biggest big data companies in the world. So we're able to do campaigns for our clients. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we segued into funnels recently and automated social media. So those are our 4 platforms.
Fantastic. And so let's talk about this. I mean, the term big data has been tossed around a lot, but what exactly is big data?
It's confusing to some, and the names associated with are they a big data company? It's not common like household names. A couple of them are like we've all heard of Oracle or Dun and Bradstreet. Those are the couple of the big names. But in essence, these are companies that just mine data. And it was valuable, but data for the sake of mining data is kind of useless unless it can be organized. And that's where the name big data came from, is being able to filter through that data to laser focus an audience that a company is looking for to target. Other than, TV and radio are to the mass markets. This is more like a micro market, laser targeted onto the people that have raised their hands and let you know that this is what they're interested in.
Excellent. Yeah. In terms of marketing, certainly uh, TV, radio, you're really talking about a shotgun approach. But with big data, you actually get to target in on who your market is. And obviously, big data can be used for more than just marketing. You can also do it for tracking performance, for monitoring your competitors. There's a lot you can do with big data.
Oh, absolutely. And just recently for the crisis, they've been using big data to organize who's been tested, who hasn't. The state of Connecticut has done a great job at trying to keep the numbers down for who's infected, but keep the numbers up for who's been tested. So they're using big data to segment, once there's a spike in a city, to laser in targeting where it came from and who needs to be quarantined. So there's a lot of uses for big data going into the future. We just, tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, so for the business side of things, obviously you're talking with two networkers here, and really, to me, what you're doing is probably forcing people to do things the right way, even from a networking standpoint. I'm talking about the preparation side of things, because obviously a huge part of doing networking is not just showing up in a meeting and trying to sell things to people. It's really trying to talk about what your value added is, who are your best customers and why, and who are your prospects as a result of that, who you need to meet. And basically, I'm sure what you're doing when you're assessing these things is you're asking your clients to focus on all these different things so you can put together the quote unquote big data that's going to help them focus on that. Because obviously now when we have the internet, you have ways of pushing at people and focusing on contacting people who are exactly in that category that you're trying to get out of them in the first place. So I would imagine that's a big part of the process that you're talking about, just coming free flowing out of my mouth, talking from a networking standpoint.
Yeah, you're spot on, Chip. And it's that's the relationship you already have with people that that big data can be the most useful if you have a brand already. That's, again, people know you, they like you and trust you on a macro scale. Than companies like the giants of industry, like Coca-Cola or Pepsi. They're going to be known already. So that part of it is already taken. But when they don't know you, it's a wonderful thing to have your brand be able to target market those people that why not, their demographics are in a position that the owner can make a decision. This is the group I want to target. But added something to that is we recognized the stats, and for paid traffic online, 96% of people who click on a PPC ad, well, sure, they go to your website, but again, 96 of 100 look around and then they go. So that's a 96% loss of what you're paying into PPC. In other words, it's a 4% gain. For giant companies, they don't even blink. But for the smaller guys, yeah, they need a lead capturing system. And so we've incorporated something like what Amazon's been doing for the last 15 years is a pixel. So in Europe, you have to let people know, hey, you're going to, is it okay, or do you accept our cookies? You'll see them on a lot of websites that do business overseas. But for the United States and local companies, they don't need to do that. It's not illegal. Over in Europe, it is. You have to agree. And if you're a company in the United States doing business in Europe, you'll see them or see that on their websites. Do you accept cookies? If you're a cookie monster or like me, yeah, you'll accept them. But it's a little code that fits up into your browser, and what that means is wherever you go for the next 90 days, the person that you clicked on the ad can advertise to you specifically. After 90 days, the buying cycle is over and the code disappears. Another little factor is if you want to get rid of it, well, you go in and clean your cache or clear your cache or your history on your browser. That's something that's not common knowledge. And I don't want to promote that necessarily, but, in case you've been getting annoying, some people don't know how to do this right. They show you the same ad.
And just to clarify for our listeners, what Mike was talking about in terms of that privacy notice, the European law, this was done in response to the GDPR, which is the law in Europe. However, very similar restrictions have already been put in place in California, and more states are adopting it. So it is important to notify the people you're sending things to of what you're collecting and why you're collecting it.
Yeah, that's just best practice. And we do such, and it's an individual thing. I see companies that I'm in competition with that don't bother. I suggest that, I find out in my research where you're going to do business. And if you're doing business worldwide, you absolutely need that. If you're doing business in California, absolutely need that. But I warn everybody, hey, it's good. It's best practice to do it because it's coming. It
certainly is. There's already been hearings about it, and we're going to have to do that universally soon. So why not get a jump on it and start now? Now, in terms of big data, my company uses big data for our clients in terms of behavioral information about employees and how they work. You're using big data in terms of target marketing, but the data itself is only semi-useful. It's the analysis of that data that gives the company a real leg up. Can you explain to us how you do an analysis and what you provide in terms of that to the small business community?
Sure. If you're entertaining big data, the strategy we use is reputation above all. And we gathered that because 87% nowadays, it's before COVID, 87% of people that hear about your company through TV or hear about it on radio, or even hear about it on Chamber of Commerce, or even if it's my mother referring me, right? People are going online to check out you before they ever contact you. So where do they go? Most people, not all, but most go onto Google. So we focus our efforts on Google and making your reputation shine, because that is the first impression. We do that because you want to convert a certain percentage of that 87%. We call it stop to shopping. Stop it right where they are. And what we're finding is a 19% increase in those companies that either call, opt in, set an appointment, or just go right in and buy. Less on the buying end, 2020, but those numbers are still high and higher than their competition. And then we can segue into a traffic program like big data, so that if they see an internet ad and they go to Google, it is in conjunction with what they're thinking. They want to know, am I dealing with a reputable company? Second is, do they have my brand? And third is, are they going to give me a good deal? And we like to think that, we've got the first thing covered. Our clients are a reputable company, and we're going to show that. Do they have my brand? Well, we've niched down to the car industry. And if I'm looking for a Mercedes, I'm not looking to buy a BMW. So in that industry, that's baked right in. And finally, are they going to give me a good deal? I have no idea. But I know that if they call, opt in, set an appointment, or go in and buy, they're going to do their best to do their job. That's how I filter through my clients is reputation first, and then big data. It's a strategy. It's a marketing strategy that has been successful with us. We've got the case studies of 19% increases year after year after year after year. And it's not going anywhere. It's just going up as people get more educated about it.
Yeah, that's something that's very important to remember. I mean, big data has become a buzzword, but big data by itself isn't going to do you any good. It has to be part of a strategy. And that's something that's very important for our listeners to realize, that big data is just part of your strategy. It's the source information, but in and of by itself isn't going to give you that boost you need unless you have proper analysis of what the data is and a strategy on how to use it.
That's such a good point. And brings me back to when I was in my younger days. When big data first came out, we were all kinds of excited. 20 of the biggest big data companies in the world. Woohoo! And we started giving out and letting people buy traffic. But they'd come back to me after 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and they go, "Hey, Mike, we're done with you." It's like, why? I got the reports that saying I'm, handing you on a silver platter hundreds of thousands of leads. What are you doing with those leads? Well, what they're doing, those leads weren't converting because they go into Google and they find out they don't have a reputation, or the reputation is poor, or it's the same as their competitor. They're not doing anything different when they go to Google and check you out. It's the same as the competitor. So now it's you're just a commodity. Who's going to give me the best price? And that's all it's about. Not the best service, the best price. And we had to shift our gears, and it almost cost me my business. So I lived and I learned, and I keep on growing as far as, these lessons are a big puzzle. And I always say the most important piece to any puzzle is the picture on the box.
Yeah. We talked about business development strategies, and obviously there's a whole lot of different ways that businesses can do that. And it really, as far as I'm concerned, depends upon the profession that business is in. I mean, obviously what you're talking about is good for certain niches of business, but it's not, great for others. So what are the professions that you're working with that really are the people who you found needed this the most and are the most successful doing this right now?
Well, the car dealers really need it. And I love the car industry because, again, from our starting point, 87% see an ad on TV. And what are they going to do next? Most 87% or higher nowadays with COVID go online and check out that company. And when are they checking it out? Well, they're not going straight to the website. They want to check out a third party. So they're going to Google, that has the most credibility and has the most authority. And therefore, what they see is what they're going to do next. So again, we focus primarily on that aspect of marketing is the reputation is so key. And if they don't have it, they need it. And if they go somewhere else, I say, God bless you. But, we're just a reminder that I'm still here, and you can always come back to me for your reputation, but you're going to be, beware of what people are going to tell you. It's the difference between an impression and a click. You can see an ad and an impression, that's for branding, but a click is the money. And we're in big data, we're paying for the impression of an ad. But the money is in the click. So we have to do our research, and we have to, get a relationship with that company to know exactly what they're looking to get out of a campaign and their time frame. They hear big data and they expect whatever they're expecting. I need to know that. so they don't disappoint.
And of course, it helps when the end user actually understands that. Before engaging your service, they need to understand what the big data is, how it's being used, the value of the reputation. I mean, it's really, you still see it to a lesser extent, but several years ago, it was all the rage to buy Facebook likes, to buy Instagram followers. And people found that when they put the money towards this, it was generally wasted because they were basically using a shotgun technique, getting a whole bunch of people that weren't really interested in what they were doing.
Yeah, it's they call it vanity followers. You know, you're buying followers, but they don't know, like, or trust you. Just followers. But in the owner of the account's mind, oh, they love me. Well, when is the last time you ever had a conversation with any of them, whether it be live or on the phone or you know uh, on a Zoom or even on a chat box? And most of them will say, no, I've never talked to my followers. It's the engagement that they do have. Just going back to what Chip was mentioning, I focus on three niches at this time. The car industry, I love the car industry for reasons I mentioned. I love that the law firms, because I base my growth primarily on who you can refer me to that isn't in competition with you. And all these lawyers have gone to law school and know law firms across this country. And I don't have to be local. And also, too, the dental industry, same thing, is they don't have to refer me to their competition across the street. They can refer me to somebody who's in business on the other side of the country. So those are the three ones that I love to work with and that get it. Once we go and get to know each other better, they really have a knack for, okay, let me position myself head and shoulders above my local competition. And they're finding out that we can do that for them.
Great. And, again, you were talking a lot about the reputation and how people go to Google to check you out. This is so important because Google has really, one, consolidated a lot of the industry. And in fact, now they're being investigated for antitrust because they may have a monopoly. So you really do need to have all of that listed in Google. But the other part of it is that Google is also big data.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's funny because if you want to get seen online for any of the directories, any one of them, it has to clone what you put on Google. In other words, I work out of 123 Main Street and I spell street, S-T period, on Google. On Facebook, I cannot say that I work at 123 Main Street, S-T-R-E-E-T. It won't show. So Google has a monopoly on the directories where the visibility of any website is called into play. Is if you don't clone Google, you're out of luck.
And that also causes problems because Google is not infallible. So if they have the wrong information, that wrong information is spread all over the web.
Absolutely. And in fact, I'm still battling with Google because before I moved back to West Hartford, Connecticut, I had 16 5-star reviews in Alexandria, Virginia, and it still hasn't transferred them up to Connecticut. Why? They're not giving me an answer. So, I mean, okay, I'll work on here and getting my reviews up here, but it's 16 5-star reviews that I've lost. I mean, yeah. Why? Why can't you just transfer them up here? I'm transferring my, place of business on your platform. Why can't you just transfer what is mine? You know, and I'm not the only one. But
no,
can't.
that's actually something that's more and more common with the online platforms. I've been dealing with, we have a Facebook page for a specific group. The group changed its name months ago. The page has not, because Facebook won't let us change the name of it. Their reasoning is, well, it doesn't sound the same, so it could be confusing to the people who are part of the group. And of course, my argument is, no, you're the one confusing them. They already know that the real name has changed. You need to reflect reality, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So, and that is a drawback of big data, is that you do need to make sure whatever information is out there about you is correct, because it is so easy to spread bad information now.
Yes, and in fact, I've got calls very often that say, "Hey, I've got a bad review." In fact, one of them was from the Chamber of Commerce. I won't mention her name, but she has a 1-star review front and center as soon as you go to her page, and she's like, "Hey, how do you delete those?" You can't. You can bury them, but what I advise to her is say, "Hey, go in there and address their 1-star review, because it's not about the person that wrote the 1-star review. It's about me and the future me's that are reading that, and they're reading your response." Never argue. It's just, "Hey, we're sorry you had a bad experience. We always strive to give 5-star reviews to each and every one of our clients. And here's, the way to get in touch with me is through the website. Ask for me, and I'll try my best to make it right with you." That does it, and somebody's reading that saying, "Hey, at least the owner of the business trying to make an attempt to make it right." It's when you don't respond that they go, "Oh, this company doesn't care."
Exactly. These 5-star reviews don't just happen. You have to provide the customer service to get them to happen. And that's something that a lot of businesses tend to forget about. Um, Restaurants see it most often, especially with Yelp, where if anything goes wrong, suddenly there's a bad review on Yelp, and you can't get these removed. So you have to provide service enough so you have enough 5-star reviews that the bad review gets buried.
Right. Absolutely. And what's worse is that Google is, well, kind of in cohorts when they rank the Google reviews on Google's first page. It doesn't help.
No, not at all.
It doesn't help the business at all.
All right, so we are just about at the end of our time. So, Mike, if any of our listeners want to get a hold of you, use your service, how can they find you?
The best way is through the phone. It's area code 571-269-6328. And I do have what's called a self-booking link, and that is a URL, like website address shortener. It's www.bit.ly/LPJM. Oh no, sorry, it's capital MIKE, Mike dash chat. It's all caps. So MIKE dash or hyphen CHAT, all capital letters. So it's bit.ly/Mike chat.
Fantastic. Chip, what do you think is the big takeaway this week for our listeners?
Obviously, it's a wonderful business that you have going here, and there's a big need for it. As we were talking about at the end, it's really important for you to perform in the first place and have that reputation. So I definitely encourage people to consult with you to just see what it's all about in the first place, because there's a lot of different angles. And I would imagine that even when you're talking with people, you're bringing value added to them, whether they really find that this is for them or not. So best of luck in this. And this was very, very interesting. Obviously, I don't do things online and text stuff like the two of you guys do, but it's been fun listening.
Thanks, Chip. And Eric, thank you for the opportunity. And I really, really appreciate your time. And hopefully, I get some people to question where they can go forward.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for being here. You've been listening to the Success Showcase. You can catch us every week at xvadio.com/podcasts. You can also find us on the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find podcasts. Remember, make this your best week ever and make next week even better. See you then.